became friends last night. I'm now allowed to call her Sass. So if I say that during the interview, you know what I'm talking about. Cezanne is one of the most recognizable and leading young beauty entrepreneurs. She's transforming the professional business of social and digital media all around the world with over 1 million loyal followers across all of her platforms. She's also become an exclusive digital media ambassador for Maybelline alongside celebrity ambassador model Gigi Hadid. Her newest venture has been creating her own monthly subscription box called Bless Box. Welcome up, Cezanne! Wherever you feel most comfortable. Perfect. Next, we're going to welcome up the beautiful Alicia Marie. Alicia is a digital powerhouse. She has over 15 million followers across all of her social channels. She's recently celebrated the 10-year anniversary of her YouTube channel, What's Up? And additionally, she was included in Variety's 2017 Power of Youth Impact Report, which is the annual list comprised of leaders in the entertainment industry that are making waves and changing the entertainment industry for the next generation. Let's give it up for Alicia. All right, and then last but certainly not least, we have Ale. Ale is the entrepreneur turned YouTuber behind Styled by Ale. As a Mexican-American and a lover of all things fashion and beauty, Ale creates videos in 2 languages to appeal to a wider audience. She's worked with brands like Benefit Cosmetics, Maybelline New York, Dove Hair Care, Sprint, and Macy's. She also runs her own successful online sunglasses shop, LA Sunnies, and accessory line, Alright. If I said that. And Jeannie, unfortunately, got stuck in New York, so it'll just be us 4 gals up here. So we will wish her safe travels when she makes it out to LA the next time. All right, guys. Well, so nice to talk to you all. All right, so let's start with the question that everyone's here to find out. What is your favorite social media platform and why? And you don't have to say what I want you to say. It's okay.
What's yours?
Typical. Sauce. To be honest, Google Play. No, just kidding. I love YouTube because I work there, but I love Instagram also. I'm a big Instagram user, but I have been using YouTube for a long time. So I've been working there for 8 years, so I feel like I kind of know it pretty well. I don't know, what about you guys?
I feel like for me it's neck and neck between YouTube and Instagram. Can I say both?
Yeah, of course.
I'm so torn with everything too. I obviously love YouTube so much because that's where everything started for me, but also I love Twitter. People are so freaking funny on there, so I think I'm gonna say Twitter.
Amazing.
I like YouTube and Instagram, but from Instagram I prefer Insta stories.
Okay.
Because I feel like they can connect more, we can kind of in the moment. And YouTube I love because I have a vlogging channel and people can connect on a more personal level as well.
Amazing. And where do you find that in terms of engaging with your audience? Talk a little bit about what it's like engaging with your audience on these different platforms. Is it any different when you engage with someone on Twitter or Instagram or YouTube?
I think completely different. I think the YouTube world is just a whole other game. Sometimes I'm kind of shy to read my YouTube comments because you know those people are like really dedicated, especially if they watched your entire video and they're like, why did you do that at this part, time marker, 1 minute, 45 seconds? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I did pick my nose at that part or whatever. They're just so much more engaged. And then Instagram is kind of this instant, like, what they think sometimes they'll say, and I guess that's kind of scary too, but it's so different, the community, you know, like in terms of people's attention span,
Right.
I would say.
That's a great answer. You guys have that?
Definitely. I think, for instance, Instagram is kind of harder for creators to engage with people, so I think people don't expect for us to see their comments as much, so it's interesting on the different platforms seeing where people think you're, like even Twitter, people really don't expect you to see it, but most of the time you see pretty much everything. And same for YouTube, so it's interesting.
Do you find that you comment back a lot more with Twitter than you do with other platforms, or do you guys comment a lot on
Suck at Twitter, oh my gosh, you need to teach me how to be better on there. because I definitely think that's a platform where, for me, I feel like I connect the most with my peeps through Instagram because of stories and things like that. Like, I used to always check my feed first, and I don't know if anyone's writing this down, but like, I always check stories, and I'm like, I haven't even like checked anyone's content on their feed today, and that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, the whole world, and since you've all been doing this for a while, how has your way that you're curating your content changed? Do you think about what platform you post on first, or do you think about how you're going to do it as one big picture? I don't know, that could be like...
Well, I think now we have so much to do. We have so many different social media platforms that we have to constantly stay active and, be consistent on everything. But this is why every platform is like so special because, for example, Instagram stories, it's an instant, like as soon as you wake up, you say good morning, and then you show your breakfast, and then you go on Twitter and you show, so I think every platform kind of has its thing to kind of keep you on top of everything.
In terms of when you're thinking about planning and editing all of your content, so on top of the last question, what apps do you use to organize your posts? Do you have anything that you guys use to keep things organized, or?
I mean, for Instagram, for me, I used to use Snug, and then I don't know what happened. I think it just had a glitch or something, and it was down for a month, so I switched to Una. That's how you
That's amazing.
I know, I like it, and you can even Una is
UNNUM.
Yeah,
And it's amazing.
Can you guys talk about what you use that for? I'm not super familiar, as everyone's doing.
Yeah. So before I used Una,
Do you have a separate Instagram account?
or I would use like ViscoCam.
Okay.
Or ViscoCam updated, and then it looked like a timeline, like a feed one. I just use Unum to plan my content, so I know if I have some really great photos that are archived, or maybe there's some things coming up that I've already shot. I like to just like store it in this Unum app. It's kind of like, picture the Instagram feed, but you can like move around all the photos and curate it how you want it to look. I try not to be too picky about like the way that my feed looks. I used to be that way, and for me, I'm just like so over that life. But I do use Unum so that I don't forget about all of the great photos I took, because right now in my camera roll, it's all pictures of my child, and I can't even see like, okay, what? I took that photo 3 months ago and haven't posted it yet. So it just keeps everything organized, and do you put the captions? You can put captions,
But
notes
you
section.
can even plan to time posts, so it'll like automatically schedule posts for you, which is nice. I haven't tried it, my sister has, and she really likes it, so you can do that, which is cool. But it's nice for even little things of, when you post a photo and then you realize it's over another selfie and there's two selfies over each other and you feel like you ruined your whole feed. That way you can see it beforehand and you can move things
Like
around.
balance.
Yeah.
I don't use anything. I just kind of post.
But I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're that real time girl.
I just have like an Instagram folder in my photos.
Amazing.
So it's like that's where I kind of just keep everything that goes on Instagram.
And as you're thinking about, see, we're learning, we're all learning new things. And as you're thinking about when you do post video content to IGTV or to YouTube, do you do the editing yourselves, or how do you guys, does it vary in terms of what the content is?
Oh yeah, I totally edit everything myself, or my husband will. Seldom, there are some projects sometimes where we're both just so busy, we'll reach out and have an editor jump in to help. But in terms of like photos and Instagram content and social media stuff, like I totally edit that myself. I think I'm better at it than Stevie. I'm so glad he's not here right now because he'd be like, really? But just because it's like, we know like what filters look good on our skin tone.
Part of it's your own voice too. Like it's your own voice for someone else to understand that. We've been trying to find some editors to help with other projects too. And it's such a process and it's so hard because you have to explain that to someone else, and the editing can make or break a video. So it's hard, you never, even if you accidentally like just sigh, people can interpret that weird. So if you give that to an editor, you know what I mean? Like little things like that, it's so hard.
Yeah, and I think we know our audience best. So I think that's what's been like the hardest for me, because my husband edits the vlogs, like he's great at that, and he can, I trust him to edit like my beauty videos, but I couldn't trust somebody else who really doesn't know my audience, who somebody will think that wasn't funny, let me cut that out. I know that my audience will love it, so I'm gonna leave it. So that's why it's been hard for us to go and find like an outside editor. So it's it can get tricky, but like for really super edited things, like maybe something that's not so personal one-on-one, that's a little bit easier to kind of hand off to an editor.
And are brands, in terms of when brands are looking for an engagement, certain engagement with your posts, do they put any rules on any of that, or are you able to be flexible with the editing, or is it usually like just do you, because what you do is so great, or do they oftentimes put, you know, edit it this way or do it that way?
I think it varies, and sometimes they do, which I wish they would do more often, because obviously it's our audience, so we know them best, and we know how to, obviously their key messages, we will still relay the message, but in our way where it seems more, you know, where it is more authentic and more organic, because they know, I mean, they've been watching us for so many years that if you say something that sounds way too, like, you kind of read it off a piece of paper, they're gonna be like, this is so sponsored, and then it's just not good.
And I think I've dealt with times where I've had experience both, where in the beginning of my blogging, digital influencer career, I really wanted to, you know, take myself seriously. I wanted brands to see that I was more than just, you know, a girl who could take a pretty picture. Like, I could get the message across and help sell the product, you know. But then I think at a certain point in my career, I realized, you know, I'm not just going to do it this way because it's going to make the brand happy and love me. I think either way, at the end of the day, you both want to see the campaign succeed. So if that means, like, I'm not going to do it against a white background because that's just not my vibe, then I've had to learn to, like, go there and be like, look, I love you, but that's not going to work. It's like, no one's going to like that, and I don't like that, you know? So you could be honest.
Could put you at risk of, like, your fans don't like to see you being inauthentic or doing something that feels weird. So interesting. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, talk about a time when perhaps you've noticed a large increase in your engagement or following. Has there been a post or a specific period of time when you've seen a peak or some major growth spurt?
When I had a baby.
Life events, weddings, babies.
Going to that though, when I moved actually, I noticed a huge growth in viewers, and I remember my contact on YouTube actually said people like being in on your life as if it's like a whole story. It's not just one video, it's a whole season of your life, and that actually does go to the same thing of, you know, people just want to be in on that. So that was, yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think that the more personal it is, obviously there's like a fine line, but the more personal it is, people like to really, like, we noticed, my husband and I were trying to have a baby, so we opened up and started talking about that process, and people are now more engaged, they're more interested, like, kind of want to know, like, everything, but I think moments like that, like big milestones in your life, people love that, and it's a good moment for engagement.
And it's so interesting because it's like these big, you know, you can't necessarily always plan for these moments. And for so many people, they put their lives out on social media and they tell their stories, these really deeply personal stories that get them the most followers or the most subscribers. And then they go back and then the next post they make gets like 10,000 views. And how do you guys deal with the rebounds of the ups and the downs of, obviously every single day of your life you're not having a baby, every single day you're not moving, I mean, there's ongoing things, but how do you keep up with the ups and downs of this world with viewership and comments and subscribers and all the things?
I think it's kind of like the ebb and flow. Sometimes when you think you're doing something and you know it's right, like you're sharing things from your heart, or you just took a really great photo, and you're just noticing like, my views on that video, or I didn't get as much engagement, and sometimes you start to like point the finger at yourself, and you're like, okay, maybe I should go focus on doing what this girl is doing, because it works. I noticed that's working really well for her, and then it gets you off of your path, and I found myself doing that so many times, and the truth is sometimes it's not what we're doing. It's literally the app. You know, the app has little funky moments, and it might be a rut that you're in for 2 weeks or 2 months or even a year, but you can't change the way that you are for, you know, for likes or comments, you know. I was having this conversation with my husband today, and I told him, I said, if I was sitting where you guys were, like, what would you guys really want to know about, like, how to grow your engagement? And he really encouraged me by saying, you know, in this world that we're in, I feel like there's 3 types of influencers. There's, you know, the influencer who is just very sort of but Very has the skill, you know, like they get the whole like posting every few hours, like the skill is there, right? But maybe the authenticity isn't there with that person. Then there's the second girl who has maybe that she's just super, super real all the time, and when she posts something, people love it, but she's just not consistent, doesn't really have a structure behind it or a plan. And then there's the third influencer who is able to do both of those things. And I think if you can figure out the skill and take it seriously, but also understand that nowadays really the only thing that's surviving across every platform, I personally feel, is just whatever is special about you, being 100% authentic in that and embracing that. And if you can just focus on those two things, I really think that's sort of the recipe in this day and age in 2018 to grow in such a saturated industry.
Amazing.
And the panel's now, should I?
I see the panel's now over, but we're going to continue because that's awesome. No,
Shout out to the husband, because he really helped me see it clear. So I thought I would share that because it's on my heart.
So true. Do you ladies get asked a lot from women or other influencers who are just getting started for advice? You know, you've been doing this for so long. What is the one thing that you tell someone when they're first getting started that they should keep in mind?
I think consistency and to understand that it's not an overnight thing. It's going to take a lot of work. I think there are those overnight sensations that, yeah, they throw up a video and it goes viral and then all of a sudden they have 1 million subscribers and millions of views, but that's not everybody and that's not the majority. So I think understanding that and not going in, I know it's kind of cliche, but don't focus on the numbers, but just focus on the passion that you have behind it, because it definitely has to start with passion, because if you're not passionate, it's going to burn out. And I mean, I have so many people have like, I'm going to start doing videos, I'm going to start doing this. I'm like, yeah, go for it. And they do it for a month, like, how do you do it? I can't do it. Like, editing takes so long, and it's draining. You know, the emotional roller coaster, this industry is an emotional roller coaster, because one day, you know, you post something, it does amazing, the next day, you post another thing, and it doesn't, and you're kind of like, what did I do wrong? Like, did I do something? We have to kind of just post and let it go. You know, be happy with what you're about to post, and then if it does, great, and if it doesn't, okay, you know, you still have the next thing. But consistency and not focusing or not expecting overnight success, because it's not.
Going off of that, something I've learned even more now, more than ever, and I've been doing this for so long, the actual community of YouTube, we're talking about YouTube, but everything in general, like, is actually really, really small. Like, the successful top YouTubers and influencers, it's really small, and one of the huge things in common is everyone just loves it. So I feel like it can be very overwhelming when you're starting, because there's so many people and everyone's just trying to like fit the role and do all this stuff, but literally, it's actually been so amazing as I've grown to meet more people who just love it, and they love it, have a passion for it. So I think that's something like starting out, like don't get caught up in this whole, oh my god, well it's all the likes and I need to have my Chanel bag and like whatever. Like do it because you love it, and you'll succeed, like genuinely.
And I just want to piggyback off of what they said. You know, when I started out on YouTube, I kind of jumped onto that platform after a lot of the girls that were already on there. And, you know, YouTube, like she said, it is such a small community. And when micro influencers or girls who don't even have a following, but they're like, I really want to do this. I feel there's something in my heart telling me I need to launch my own blog or my own channel or my own online business. And I just tell those girls, I'm like, look, you have to set micro goals for yourself every day. And those micro goals for you might be, you know what, I still work a 9-to-5 job, but on the weekends I have some time. So maybe Saturdays I'm gonna meet with a friend and we're gonna take each other's photos so that I have content, maybe to post 3 things the next week. And those are micro goals to help you then get to your short-term goal of what's your short-term goal? It's I want to launch a blog. Okay, well then I need to research XYZ before I can hit that short-term goal. And then maybe your long-term goal is I really want my own makeup line, you know? But it's like sometimes we look at everything in front of us and it's like a big giant plate. We're like, okay, I want a little bit of this, like it's Thanksgiving. I want this on there. I want my own makeup line. I want my own blog. Okay, how can I do it in literally 5 minutes? Anybody got tips? Like,
you started again.
And if you think about it that way, it's going to overwhelm you. It's going to make you feel like I'm never going to get there. And it's kind of like working out. When you realize, dang, I fell off, you know, and you try try to get back into a workout, you have to not look at what that finish line looks like, because it might be a little bit longer, and you're not allowing yourself to sort of be surprised along the way, because anything can happen. This industry, it is competitive, but it seriously moves so quickly. Does everybody live here in LA? I'm just curious. If you live in LA or you have the ability to come to a city like this, to do conferences like this, that in itself, like you guys are one up in pretty much a huge percentage of the country, wouldn't you say? Like, and just doing things like this helps feed that dream and those short-term goals and the long-term. So I always break it up into micro, short-term, and long-term, and I still have those things today. Like I'm not like just chilling on my couch, you know? So.
And half of my friends who I've met over the years, I have like a small group of friends that I met from the very beginning, and literally it was something like this, and we were all starting out, and we met each other at stuff like this, and now we're very successful on the platforms, and it's crazy, like you get to network with each other, like meet each other, like these things are so special, and a lot of us live in Southern California, so we were able to do that and not have to buy a plane ticket, so really take advantage of everything.
It's amazing. And it's interesting for me to hear too, because I work at YouTube, and when people always ask us when we're working with new creators, what do we do to get started? And I always say it, but it feels different coming from me. So it's nice to, I say the same thing, it's like, let's think about the immediate goals of just getting started, and it's not about how many subscribers you have right away, but looking at how long people are watching your content. And the same goes for all of these platforms, but it's so easy to get wrapped up in the numbers. We're just like that, because that's how we do it, that's how we use them personally. So it's really nice to hear that reemphasized.
I think another thing, sorry to interrupt, but don't focus on time. You know, I think people get lost in that. I think when you do that, I think about where I was, you know, it took 6 years to get to where I'm at today. It didn't happen like in a year, it didn't happen, it took 6 years. And when I say 6 years, I'm talking the first like 4 years, it was like, nothing was coming my way, but I didn't stop because it was the passion and, you know, the dedication. So just don't look at it like, I needed to have, you know, I did all this in a year, because the reality is that might not happen, and that's gonna really like turn you off and take much longer. So just be passionate and do it.
And one of the things you talked about, I can't remember who said it, but just that, maybe you all mentioned it in some way at some point, but just that there's things that are out of your control. On YouTube, let's talk about, for an example, things with the algorithm or different things like that. How do you get visible? What do you all do? Do you have any tips or tricks or things that help you get found on YouTube?
Funny story. I was in Texas last week visiting my family, and I have a 17-year-old brother there, and he grew up on YouTube. Like, he's not a YouTuber, but like TV for him was YouTube. So he's so quiet, like he hardly talks when we're there, and I'm like, you're so annoying, like, or are you shy around me, like I'm your sister. So anyways, one night he was Mr. Chatty Cathy when he was talking about all the things that I could be doing better on my channel. I was like, dang, what are you trying to say? And he just said like, look, people don't want to see the word vlog in the titles anymore, they get turned off. Another thing, people my age, we don't want to see like text on the photos for your thumbnails, because that can like throw us off and it can be misleading, because it's like, is that really footage or is it just a picture? And all this stuff, and then I was like,
Don't forget.
after I kind of like swallowed my big sister pride, I was like, whoa, he's onto something here. And I said, do you want an intern for me?
I was like, you should do consulting or something.
But he was so right, and to this day, I since last week, I've been texting him like, what do you think of this title for my video? And what I got from him critiquing me was, nowadays people just, because YouTube, there's so many suggestive videos on the right-hand side. Let's say I did a video on how to straighten your hair, you know, and if the title was how to straighten your hair, that's not going to catch anyone's attention, you know, it doesn't need to be something crazy like, I permed my hair, and then you actually didn't, for clickbait, but I think it needs to be personal, like personal titles that aren't this long thing. For me, the whole like thing with my channel name at the end of every title, that just doesn't really work, and I noticed the more chill my titles are, the better for me. And I was like, thanks bro. He's like, I'll invoice you.
Do you guys have anything that you use, any techniques or any things you think about when you're posting?
I feel like for me, because I started 10 years ago is when I made my channel, and it took 3 to 4 years solid, love when I can see that they have their own style, they have their own flair, to which everyone can do, makeup, basic makeup, everyday makeup tutorial, right? But when you have your own personality in it, when you have your own tips to it, and you're not just a clone image of someone else, that's what makes me want to subscribe. So do things that people are doing, because I think when I first started, I felt like, oh, someone already has done a straightening hair tutorial, I can't do that, where I was trying to be too original. So it's okay to let yourself do those topics and stuff, but make sure you have your own flair to where when people find you, they'll want to stay and subscribe.
Yeah, I think for sure pay attention to the industry that you're going in, whether it's beauty or it's vlogging, and just kind of see what vlogging is a little different because that's kind of like on the daily, but for beauty, just kind of see what the conversation is and put your own, like she said, put your own spin, your own twist to it. But look at it because we all watch YouTube. We don't just upload videos. Like YouTube is my TV. Like I don't even watch TV anymore. So I look at it like, what would somebody else want to click on my channel? And that's kind of how. And obviously, like your audience. You start to learn what they like, what they don't. Introducing new things as well. And but yeah, paying attention to what's kind of going on in the industry that you're in is really important because then you can kind of get off the trending topics and things like that.
Going off of that, I don't know if this is just a coincidence or I have no idea what. Every time that I'm watching YouTube and I want to love and watch it and watch it on Instagram and I'm excited about it, is when my channel does well. Like every single time. So I think there is something about actually loving it and being connected as a viewer as well as a creator. I swear it could be a coincidence, but I promise.
Nobody tells me anything, I just work there.
Watch time, baby.
All about that watch time. How much, I know we have time for Q&A, how much, we still good? Okay, perfect. I've got plenty more questions, I just want to make sure I lose track of time. I get carried away. Okay, so we talked a little bit about YouTube obviously just now. How do you cross-promote? What strategies do you guys use across all of your different socials?
For me, I kind of try to make it like an incentive for them. So it's like, go to my YouTube channel, I just upload a video, leave this emoji, and I'll shout you out on my Instagram. And they love that because obviously, like, somebody that I used to watch other girls as well. And whenever you get noticed, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, she noticed me, like, I see all these people. And you can never take that for granted. Your subscribers, you can never take them. You have to give them as much time and attention. I always dedicate, as soon as I upload, I always dedicate 1 hour to my video to sit there and comment to every single person that's there for the first hour. Because I know that they're my most loyal, they're every time
Time pays dividends.
Right, yeah. So and just like I said, just telling them, like, if you go to my channel, I'll shout you out on Instagram, or I'll RT on Twitter, and, all that good stuff.
And in terms of the way that you do a lot of swipe up? Do you put the links in your bio? Do you use about pages? I get asked this all the time. How should I cross-promote?
I think a huge successful thing I've noticed with my own stuff is the day of launch, you're there for an hour replying to comments, put it out to Twitter, Insta story, whatever, and then let it sit for a bit, and then a few days later, do the same thing. Because there's a lot of times people are on vacation for the weekend or doing whatever, and they just genuinely don't see it. So it can be frustrating when you think, well, I did promote it so much. It's like, yeah, you only did 1 hour that it went up. And let it be in people's sub boxes, and then maybe 4 days later be like, hey, in case you didn't see it, swipe up again.
And with that being said, that made exactly what she said is something I realized probably late in the game, because I would be posting like 2 or 3 YouTube videos sometimes a week, and then I felt like, well, dang, I've got a lot of work to do to get this promoted because I worked hard on it, I want people to see it. So sometimes less is more. Like, do 1 video or 2 videos a week, but let it live, and also just promote it when it makes sense, to promote it.
And I'm not going to speak on YouTube's behalf, but what I've also noticed is I feel as though the algorithm is based that way in a better way for you to not feel like, oh, you only have 1 chance for it to do well. Over the course of a week, it makes it like it's not doing as well. I'm getting some thoughts, okay. So the first few days, it may not be doing as well as it used to. For me, maybe 2 years ago, it would be a huge spike and then nothing, where now it's kind of like a steady, which makes it better for, our mental health and stuff. So don't get discouraged.
Yeah, I think it gets really discouraging if you look at your analytics and you see this big pop and then it just goes down. But the whole thing is the shelf life. That's the secret sauce. That's the money. how long people are going to be watching, how long it stays, people coming back. You can now see how many times people watch your video, which I find really interesting.
There's a whole back end now to YouTube where as a creator you can see at what part in your video people bounced out. And I was like, dang, I was talking about my dog here and people were like, sweetie, what? Like there was like a huge
But it's humbling. It's weird.
yeah, but it's helpful, you know, it's allowed me to focus.
Okay, and let's see here. In a sea of noise, how do you get noticed as an influencer? So, what do you do if somebody hasn't heard of you? For our friends here, do you have any suggestions of, in a sea of noise, the first thing you should do to get noticed?
I'll just say, I really don't have it all. Like, I can't sit here and just give you the magic answer. I really wish I could, but it's really not easy. And even me, somebody who's been doing this for 5+ years, I still have days where I'm like, man, how do I keep this overstimulated society and world engaged in my content? How do I, so it's a constant thing. Like, it doesn't matter what level of success you're at. You're always going to be like, how can I, once you build your audience, it's like, okay, great, but how do I keep them? And that's really the magic thing is it's not even about your followers, it's about the engaged community. And I think for me, when I finally just like quit trying to be like all of the other amazing, beautiful makeup, beauty YouTubers out there, I just had to like look myself in the mirror and say, look, I'm not a makeup artist. I don't know how to put on fake lashes, but you know what? I'm gonna be real about it. And I think whenever I start to feel discouraged, I always launch series. And I launched a series called Makeup and Motivate, where it was just like I'm doing my makeup, but I'm just talking about real life stuff. And that's when I realized for me that people follow me in my life, not because of like, oh, we like your eyeshadow, but it's because there's this personal connection I feel like I have with my online peeps of like moms and they have babies or whatever. And that, it wasn't always like that. Starting out as a blogger, I just did fashion and beauty and kept it really cute. But then I think as you start to grow and evolve, you have to be okay with growing and evolving with your audience, Like I'm not gonna be doing a sparkly smoky eye after I just had a baby, and I needed to be okay with that. So just being completely real and authentic is probably my one piece of advice, because that's really helped me in the past like couple of years find my own voice in such a loud social media world that we're in.
I think collaborating too is a good way to kind of, obviously like in a room like this, you're all wanting to do the same thing. Maybe a lot of you guys do beauty or fashion. You'll find something in common that you guys can collab, and the girl sitting next to you, her audience maybe hasn't heard of you, or your audience hasn't heard of her. You guys cross promote and all, more people know who you are. That helps a lot. And I think going back to what she was saying about like makeup tutorials and stuff, like people now want more than just a tutorial. So
Or substance.
they want
addition.
Yeah, they want something that's going to be more personal. And going back to her series, I've watched her series and I love it because it's like not only like you're almost sitting with a friend now, and you guys are just chatting and getting a little bit more personal, which a lot of people are scared of, but that's what I tell, even girls that just do makeup, and tell them if you start maybe once a week vlogging, just show a little bit more of your personal life. That way people can say, oh my God, I'm just like her, or we go and do the same things, and they connect, and then they're there for a good while.
Amazing. All right, well, we're going to begin Q&A. So we have quite a few questions. I saw your hand pop up with the glasses and the white first. I apologize, that was just where my eyes were. So I'll go over here next.
Hi. So first of all, thank you guys for being here. I was so excited that there was like a panel that focused mostly on YouTube, because YouTube is like my life.
Yeah, girl.
But I just wanted to ask, when you were saying your little brother's tips, that is such a fresh perspective. Is there anywhere that you would really go to figure that out more? Or do you have anything else that he said? Because like my day job,
Dang, let's call him right now, should we?
I want to know, Shy.
I would highly suggest that if you know anyone that's younger than you, that's such a fresh perspective. For the longest time I was trying to figure out how to be creative with my titles when all I needed to do was talk to my brother. And he actually went and like told me, I'm looking through your channel, I'm gonna send you a list of some of the thumbnails you need to go back and change because that wasn't good. And I said, give me an example right now. Do you even know how to use Photoshop? And he went to the one that I said what my daughter would look like. It was before I had her. And it was like, I looked crazy. But I did like freckles and blue eyes. But the thumbnail of that video was just a picture of me. And he was like, why would you show it? You should put a big question mark on the face so they can't see it. And that gets them to click. I was like, I hate you. I love you. So it's just, yeah, that's kind of what he shared with me in a nutshell. But maybe I should have him do like an Instagram stories takeover sharing.
No, you should do that on your channel. Like, have him be in it.
Oh yeah, and I could be like, you can go ahead and edit, add the title to this, and create the cover. I feel
We
like
did
we
just
would
put out
never
a lot of documentation on this also on YouTube. If you Google Creator Academy on discoverability, there's a lot of stuff on this too. But I would just look at other people's videos who are successful. In the front, right here. Oh, great. So everyone can now ask a question. So I'm not looking at you. I'm just kidding.
Hi, ladies. So I guess my question is, did you have to balance a full-time job or anything before you got to the point? So in other words, the 6 years, the 3 years that nothing was coming, was it more so that you were juggling your personal work-life balance and committing to your channels, or were you lucky enough that you just got to commit to just the channel? Like, what was your track?
For me, I was and I am running a business. So when I started, I had a online boutique and as well as like a little store on wheels where I would go out and sell. So that was like my full-time job. And then I would also do YouTube. And now I still do YouTube and I have my business that I run full-time. So it's a lot of work. I mean, it's 18-hour days. It seems because the video, sometimes people think because the video is 3 minutes, it took 3 minutes to make that video. But then you're also a wife. You also have a family you need to spend time with, kids, dogs. I mean, there's also life that goes on it. So it's a lot of hours. But I think when you love what you do, you'll do it happily because the end result is something that you want. So it's just finding a balance that'll work for you and a schedule. If you work Monday through Friday, like you said, on weekends, put that little day and time for your YouTube or your blog, and just scheduling things out. I noticed that having a schedule for me really helps, especially being at home. You can easily be distracted. But if you say, from this time to this time, I'm going to edit my video. From this time to this time, I'm going to think of my next video and just scheduling everything out.
When I started, it was towards the end of high school. It was definitely just a hobby then, but when I noticed that it wasn't growing, I was still in college full time. I was cheering for my college. Somehow I was on the dean's list that time too. I don't know how, but I was. I know, thank you. Then later I dropped out, but that's another story. No, so my schedule was Monday through Friday, super busy, and on the weekends I would finally have time and I would film 2 or 3 videos for the next week. But it was a lot, and then I actually transferred schools and was commuting, and around that time, I just noticed like school was getting so hard for me because I was just so out of it, and I just wanted to pursue this full time, so that was around the time I kind of dropped out to pursue it full time. But I kind of came to a crossroads of like, okay, if I want to do this full time, I need to devote my time to it. And of course, that was just my personal road experience, so maybe different for you, but it was definitely hard to balance it.
I was fresh out of college when I moved to LA thinking I wanted to do TV hosting. I got little things here and there, but it was like pennies. And then I was like hustling, doing like this little like bottle thing for like this online store, which helped. And my parents gave me 6 months when I moved out here and said, we'll support you as much as we can. I was living with my sister who lived out here. So in a way I was like, dang, I gotta hustle or else I'm going back to Texas and I'm gonna go back to my banking job, you know what I mean? So I think when you really love something and you really want, and it's constantly in your mind, whether that's like working out or starting a blog, if you constantly think about it, you will always find a time to figure it out. Like I thought after I had a baby that I would never do things that I loved again. But honestly, when that's such a huge part of who you are and you're a go-getter, you find a way to do it. And I just encourage you to like know that it's great because like it's free to start a YouTube channel and it's free to like, you know, for the most part have an Instagram and all of that. But it's just about how you know, set your goals, like they say, in your routine throughout the week. You know, micro goals.
In the back, right there.
I have a question, like, between how you manage brands that you pitch to and how you manage brands that pitch to you. Like, how you choose between what you're aspiring, who you're aspiring to work with, and how you choose who wants to work with you.
I just don't want to be talking the most because I talk a lot. Starting out, when I started out like 5 years ago, there was no agencies and things like that that were sort of the middleman for brands to connect to influencers. But now there's like hundreds and thousands of them. So it's a lot easier nowadays for like micro influencers to really get their foot in the door. So that's a plus. When I started out, I created, when Stevie and I came and did this full time, we like created like a PDF thing on like Word, and we created our own press kit. And we basically said like, these are the 3 things we offer: a blog post, Instagram, blah, 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 and then it's like a menu of options. And we would actually go pitch that out to brands on like Etsy, who were very like mom and pop shops. They want exposure. We knew how to take the professional photos and promote it. And I started noticing in the beginning, before brands even reached out to me, that helped me get like, I was so excited when they would be like, yo, we want the whole thing. Like, we'll take the whole package deal, which at the time was like, literally, I was so excited. It was like $500 for the whole shebang across everything. And we started getting so many brands on Etsy. So I encourage like anyone out there who's like, how can I just start building my brand list? Go reach out to brands like on Etsy and those different sites because they're looking for people to help push their products. And you don't have to have millions of followers to do that. And then eventually, I think brands really started to notice that, okay, this is somebody who is obviously a professional, knows how to promote stuff. And then they all started kind of trickling into my inbox that way. And then years now, it's like we have just direct relationships with the brands where we don't necessarily need a middleman. And if I really want to do something now, I'm like, okay, I have this amazing idea. So I put everything in like a creative pitch deck, and I always will shoot it to the brand. Like, what do you guys think of this idea? Do you have anything that maybe you're thinking about doing in the fall that could work with this master idea I have? And brands really appreciate that because it shows that you care and that you're full of cool ideas. So that's my advice in a nutshell.
I think one thing for me, I don't know if this is like that much advice, but one of the brands I've always dying to work with was Starbucks. I love Starbucks so much. And I'm not even kidding, it was like dream goal, that's all I wanted in life itself. The patience, I think, is one of those key things because I knew obviously I would love to work with them. I thought they would never ever want to work with me, but that just was in the back of my head. So I just kind of focused on those micro goals with smaller brands and stuff, and building that confidence of me being proud of my content to be able to come to a brand and be like, this is my channel and I'm very proud of it, is a huge part of it because now I've worked with Starbucks and that was so amazing for me. And thank you. It was so much. I had a moment. But if I had expected that to come from day one, I don't think it ever. Just having that patience and I think truly being proud of what you have and feeling it. It's almost like a portfolio in a way. You know, when you're going into an interview, you want to have the best portfolio you have and your best resume. So I think when it comes to brands, think of it that way. You know, you want to be fully prepared for your dream.
And if you want to work with a brand like Nordstrom long term, then it's like, let's say your content's all like Hot Topic. Like, you remember Hot Topic?
Go to Nordstrom.
And so it's like, if you kind of know the direction you want with working with brands, certain beauty brands, then that's the content you need to sort of emulate to kind of show those brands like, this is my vibe, because they're all about the vibe. And it's like, if you're not that girl that's their vibe, then it's like, it doesn't work for either one of you know what I mean? So just be true to what your vibe is and then target those kinds of brands.
You're saying vibe and that literally.
I said vibe like
No,
20 times.
it's so true because it's really not working with other brands. It's not as much as you think about numbers and subscribers. It really isn't. A lot of it's just the overall package package if it's like, this is someone who represents our brand well, so don't get caught up with the views in that way, because it genuinely, it's not about
One of
that.
those brands is Chanel Beauty. I met with them in New York this past trip, and I was just going in for a meeting to kind of just chat. And the whole meeting, it was like one of the first meetings I ever had where they were just like, yeah, we're really into like the girls that are like the Coco Chanel, you know, what is their new Instagram handle? Coco Beauty, I don't know. You can obviously tell that meeting didn't go very well for me. But me and Stevie ended up leaving that, and I said, I love the Chanel brand, but it's really not my vibe. I probably would never spend that much personally on something like that. But I was glad I went into that meeting because it made me realize, like, they don't even care about your followers. So if you have that Coco vibe, for them, the PR around the look is more important, like you said, than the actual following. Which is
And
crazy.
sometimes you don't know, like maybe something you put out will then generate a partnership. For example, my husband saw this video that was going around. It was to try like burgers from different restaurants blindfolded and find out or guess what every burger was from. So he was like, let's do it. I was like, okay, whatever, let's just do it. And so we did it, and we ended up getting a deal with McDonald's because McDonald's was one of the burgers that we talked about in the video, and now we've worked with McDonald's multiple times. So you never know what might come out of something that you're already, if it's something that you already love, that you're already enjoying, a brand will see that and they'll say, you know what, this is a perfect fit for us. She already loves it, she's already using it, she's already talking about it, let's bring her on. So just kind of, you know, talk about what you already love and they'll notice it.
And I just moved over to this role from working with brands, trying to get influencers to do their campaigns. So I was working at Google doing that. And brands are looking for people who are just making content about their brands. Literally, I worked with eBay and I'm like, look at all these people who shop on eBay. Just random people. They don't care who, they don't look at anything. They're not interested. The people at eBay don't know who the big influencers are. They just want to get people who are excited about their brand.
Last question, you guys.
Make it good. No brash.
You put so much pressure.
You're gonna be great.
So I'm like all the way in Minnesota, so we're like this, and I came in late, so we're always like to the game in Minnesota. But so would you say to get noticed by them, it's like taking them or hashtags, or how do you get noticed by them from what you guys were just talking about that moment?
You notice by
You get noticed by the brand?
Yeah, what
I
you
hear you very
guys
well.
were saying, like basically when you were like the eBay, look at all these girls, like what do you go to? Is it a hashtag or is it you taking them?
I mean, like on Instagram, I think
Yeah.
Instagram is very, it's much easier than obviously YouTube, because on YouTube you can't tag a brand, but like on Instagram, if you're into makeup, make sure you're constantly tagging them, or even DM them, you know, send them a DM, slide into their DMs and tell them, hey, I just uploaded, I love your new foundation, well, they're going to appreciate that, and then maybe you'll get on the PR list, and then maybe you have a relationship with the brand. I think Instagram is the easiest way as far as like beauty or anything, clothes. Same, like I would tag brands and then all of a sudden I started getting reposted by brands, which is really cool because then a bigger audience gets to see you and then follow you. That's another great way to grow on social media too. Constantly tag brands so that they notice you and then maybe get reposted and build a relationship. But definitely take advantage of DMs, and it's so easy now I feel like before it was so much, like I would say like email for hours. Now it's like on Instagram you just send them a message through DM and most of the time they will reply.
Oh yeah, and definitely stories over tagging in your actual post is the biggest thing, because obviously that tags them in their stories as well. I've noticed that hands down. I also have a friend who is starting this out as her full-time job. She obviously has a smaller audience and followers and stuff, but she has no shame. She'll DM anyone and be like, hey, I'd love to promote your product, and they'll send her stuff. Like, it's literally, if you just
They have products for days, trust me.
Yeah,
They'll give you
so
some
much
like 10
product.
giveaways if you want.
Yeah, literally, be like, hey, I'm posting a giveaway. I'd love if you'd like to, contribute. But I think a lot of it's really just the wording and being open about it. But then also, like I was saying, having that resume. If you think about it, they're first going to check out your page before they say yes. So when you go to your page, make sure that it emulates you and what you want, to put out to the world.
Well, you all were amazing. This was so much fun. I wish we could stay forever, but we've been told we have to go. So thank you all so much, and thanks for your guys' great participation.
Can I just say, I'm going to be out on the grass for a little bit by my Blessbox booth, so if any of you guys want to come over and hang out,